Hello friends, today we are going to study about some of the aspects of national income with emphasis on difficulties in measuring national income of a country, and in the last part we will focus on the peculiar difficulties faced by developing countries in measuring national income. Just to set a background, we all know that macroeconomics is a study of economic variables in aggregate in interrelation with one another. It is also called as monetary economics or theory of money. It is a realistic study of macroeconomic variables of an economy. Some of the macroeconomic variables are employment, inflation, economic growth or development, etc. One of such variable considered to be very important aspect of study in macroeconomics is national income. To begin with, let us understand in brief the concept of national income. National income is defined as the monetary value of all the final goods and services produced in a country in a given period counted without duplication. We have to remember some important points while calculating national income. First, national income is calculation of all the goods and services produced by the country in a given period, which is generally 1 year. Secondly, while calculating national income, intermediary goods are not calculated. Only the final goods and services are counted. This is done to avoid duplication or double counting. Double counting gives us an inflated figure and does not give the true picture of country's progress. Calculation of national income is considered to be very important for a country. This is so because certain reasons like national income is considered as a mirror image of a country's economic progress. It also helps us to analyze and understand the importance of primary, secondary and tertiary sector in an economy. On the basis of the contribution of these sectors, one can analyze the phase of development of any economy. For example, if the contribution of primary sector is highest in the national income, that means that the country is still in its traditional mode of development. On the other hand, if contribution of secondary sector is highest, that shows that the country is an industrial economy, and that of the tertiary sector is highest means that the country is a developed economy or is in the phase of transition from developing to developed economy. The national income also helps us to understand various problems of the economy like concentration of economic power, inequalities of income, imbalance in the economic development, etc. Hence, calculation of national income or arriving at a figure that is very close to the real one is very important for any country. National income can be calculated by using any one of the three methods. The first one is the product method. In this method, an economy is divided into three sectors or segments, namely the primary sector, which includes agriculture and allied activities like fishing, forestry, dairy farming, etc. The secondary sector, that is also called as the manufacturing sector, like large, medium and small scale enterprises, and the tertiary sector is also known as the service sector, includes all the services like education, health, trade, transport and communication, etc. the net value added by each sector is calculated at factor cost in national income. The second method is the income method, wherein the national income is divided into 4 factor incomes, namely rent, wages, interest and profit. Some income that cannot be put in one definite factor is calculated as mixed income. The third and the last method is the expenditure method. In this method, expenditure made by households, business firms and government is calculated. To this figure, net income from abroad is added. Net income from abroad is calculated by subtracting net imports from net exports. Thus, in this method, final expenditure of the country is considered. Each country, on the basis of its phase of development, nature of economic activities, type of economic activities, proportion of monetized sector, etc., has to decide as to which method it is going to use. Irrespective of the method used, the basic aim is to avoid double counting and arrive at the true figure that is neither inflated nor deflated. Estimation of national income of the country is a tedious and time consuming process and involves many difficulties. Some of these difficulties are common to all the countries, whether they are developed or developing, but some are specific only to the developing countries. So, we will first move to the difficulties that are common and then to the specific ones. The difficulties that arise while calculating national income can be categorized as conceptual difficulties and non-conceptual difficulties. Conceptual difficulties are those difficulties that are present in the concept of national income itself, or the difficulties that arises due to definition of national income. Some of them can be stated as the problem in definition itself. By definition, national income includes all those goods and services that are produced in the country within a certain specific period of time. Sometimes it gets really difficult to decide as to which goods can be included and which should be excluded from the calculation. Another difficulty is that the national income calculates only the money value of final goods and services produced in an economy in a given accounting year. Final goods are those goods which are not used in further production of other goods and are destroyed after consumption. It does not allow intermediary goods in calculation, as that will lead to double counting. But in practice, many times a clear distinction between finished goods and intermediate goods is not possible or is a difficult task. For example, wheat flour, if used by the consumer, is a final product, but if the same flour is purchased by the baker, it is an intermediate product for him. Another example is, if a particular type of stationery like paper is used by students or in office, then it is the final product. On the other hand, the same product is used in a book or in a notebook, then it becomes an intermediary product. Another difficulty is to adjust the change in price while computing the national income. If price of the raw materials, process in the production or price of the final good is continuously changing, then getting a right figure is very difficult. I hope we have discussed conceptual difficulties in length. The main point to keep in mind is that these difficulties arise in all the countries because they are inherent in the concept of national income. Now, let us discuss the second type of difficulties that arise in statistical calculation of the national income. These difficulties are also called as statistical difficulties or the practical difficulties that are generally seen in developing or underdeveloped countries. The first difficulty of this kind is presence of non-monetized sector. In this sector, trade of goods and services takes place, but money is not used. Barter trade takes place. Such sectors are widely prevalent in rural areas and tribal areas of less developed countries. Though transactions are taking place, but money is not used. Hence, these transactions are not recognized and registered by the state authorities. Only the transactions in the monetized sector are considered in calculation of national income. One more difficulty is exclusion of government services. National income figure does not include some important services meant for the public welfare. The governments of modern state spend a large amount on provision of free services like recreation, cultural activities, old age pensions, orphan houses, child care centers, maternity homes, etc. Moreover, they have to pay wages and salaries, incur other expenditure for performing various administrative functions such as maintenance of law and order, defending the country from foreign aggression, expenditure on the creation and maintenance of socio and economic infrastructural facilities like roads, highways, education, etc. Since these services yield no income or they do not have any market value, some experts say that they have to be excluded in national income. At present, the convention is that cost of providing these services is calculated and included in national income of the country. But many experts are of the view that all government expenditure should be included in measuring national income by calculating the total income generated by these services in the form of wages and salaries, and they create externalities. That value should also be included. One more problem is the income from foreign investors. The countries host large number of MNCs. These corporations generate income in the economy, lead to externalities and thus contribute to the national income. But a part of their total income goes to parent country too, that resides in the foreign land. Suppose a foreign company is producing good or service in India, then the income is included in national income as the income is generated within the country. But other remittances earned by the company in the form of interest, dividends, royalties cannot be included in the national income, because this type of income is earned by foreigners and is included in their parent country's national income. This makes correct estimates of national income of the host country very difficult. Another major difficulty that can be listed is those services which are rendered regularly and are very important for the society and the economy, but do not have any accountability. For example, services of a housewife, mother cannot be recorded as they do not have a monetary value. This leads to a deflated value of national income. Services of a housewife are free services or non-market transactions. The work done by housewives like cooking, washing, nursing children and elderly people in the family are unpaid services, as they do not enter into the market. If the family appoints a cook for cooking food, a maid for doing all the washing and cleaning, or a nurse for nursing kids or elderly members of the family, then these services are included because it involves a paid salary or income. Another such example is farmer cultivating the farm, but using a part of the output for self consumption. Only the part of the production that comes to the market is included in national income. The part used for self consumption goes unaccounted. Here the service has been rendered, but only part of the service gets included in the national income. Another example that can be cited is, suppose a lady was working as a cook in the family and earning some amount for rendering the service. The service will be counted in national income. Let us say she marries a boy from the same family. Now, she will continue rendering the service, but it will not be counted in the national income as the family now will not pay money for the same service. We can give many such examples. The nature of services of several persons in several fields can't be decided easily. If the same teacher works in a high school, his services are considered remunerative or economic in nature. As a teacher in a school, his services are included in national income figures. The third difficulty is related to availability of statistical data. This is so because national income considers only accurate statistical data and information available in the economy. In underdeveloped countries, statisticians who supervise the calculation of national income figures face several problems in securing correct and accurate information about the output, savings, investment, consumption, income and expenditure of individuals in different spheres. Therefore, calculation of national income gets inaccurate. The fourth problem is that of fear of double counting. While calculating national income, great care needs to be taken for avoiding double counting of a commodity. A particular commodity should be counted only once at a particular state. The fifth problem in counting of national income is transfer earnings. Transfer earnings mean income earned by individuals for the productive work like pensions, unemployment relief funds, etc. Such transfer earnings are excluded from national income. Another problem is inclusion of profits earned by foreign companies. According to opinion of International Monetary Fund experts, foreign companies' income has to be included in national income of those countries where the production is organized. But the profits obtained by branches of foreign companies should be included in national income of foreign countries. One of the aims of calculating national income correctly is to enable to compare the performance of one country with another. But achieving this aim is difficult as there are difficulties of comparison. These difficulties arise because the methods adopted for the calculation of national income differ from country to country. Besides these problems, there are some special difficulties faced by underdeveloped countries or developing countries. Let us discuss these problems. In developing countries like India, national income estimates may not reveal the real output of the country. This is so because a large part of the country is dominated by non-monetized sector, especially in rural areas, the tribal areas where the economic activity is restricted to agriculture and allied services like fishing, animal husbandry, forestry, etc. It's easy for the people to trade in barter than through money. But all such transactions go unaccounted in national income. In some developing or developed countries, comprehensive information is not available. This is so because most of the people engaged in economic activities are either semi-literate or illiterate. They do not have a clear idea of the volume of output produced or the value of their produce. They either are unaware of keeping information or there is insecurity related to loss of income or due to lack of education do not understand the importance of keeping the records of output produced by them. Therefore, millions of farmers residing in rural and urban areas earn income, but their income goes unaccounted in the national income. Besides farmers, there are many people doing petty jobs, trading or are providing varied services. All this group of people who are in large numbers and earn income, but the income goes unaccounted. For example, income earned by the housemaids, beauty parlors, drivers, street vendors, shopkeepers, porters, barbers, plumbers, tutors, etc. All these people belong to unorganized sector and comprise of semi-skilled laborers. This group earns income, but all this income goes unestimated because the income is not kept in writing. Another problem with these countries is there is no occupational specialization. In developed countries, the entire productive sector is doing some specific job in one specific sector. Hence, calculating their contribution in one particular sector is easy. But this is not so in developing countries like India. Individuals are working in different sectors in 1 year and are earning income from different sources. For example, a farmer working in agriculture sector can do so only for some part of the year. This is so because there is existence of seasonal unemployment due to lack of irrigational facilities. Remaining part of the year, he migrates to urban areas and works as maybe a rickshaw driver or as a street vendor or in construction sites as laborer, so on and so forth. Thus, in 1 year, he is involved in economic activities pertaining to more than one field. His income will be calculated either in primary sector or service sector. Therefore, income earned in one sector cannot be estimated. In developing countries, production units in sectors like agriculture, small scale industries, cottage industries, entrepreneurs doing local business, indigenous banking, etc. are scattered throughout the country. These activities are the activities of unorganized sector. It is very difficult and tedious to calculate the exact volume or value of the output produced by the sector. Hence, income of the unorganized sector goes unaccounted in the national income. In underdeveloped or developing countries, collection and presentation of statistical data is a complex task. Basic facilities required for national income computation is not available. This is due to lack of adequate expert statistician, statistical organization, literacy and education, entrepreneurs, etc. Therefore, again the statistical figures obtained are not reliable. One of the most important difficulties faced in modern days by some of the country is presence of parallel economy or underground money or money earned by illegal transactions. Innumerable activities are conducted in cash in order to avoid accounting. Producers keep two account books, one for the government and one for self. There are two types of receipt books maintained by innumerable businessmen like jewelers. There are other groups of people like actors, actresses, players, businessmen, etc., who never declare the true income. They are engaged in legal transactions, but the income is deliberately concealed with the main aim of evading taxes. All such type of income not declared, generally called underground economy, add to the parallel economy and goes beyond the scope of getting accounted in the national income. Similarly, all the illegal transactions like money earned by smugglers, thieves, drug traffickers, etc., goes unaccounted in the national income. To conclude, the most serious problem associated with the measurement of national income in the developing country is lack of reliable and adequate data. An accurate estimate of national income is not possible due to inadequacy of data. In addition, data regarding production in agriculture and allied activities such as forestry and fishing, household enterprises such as small scale and cottage industries are not available. Even data on organized sector is not only inadequate, but unreliable too. For all these reasons, it is very difficult to gather correct information about consumption, saving and investment expenditure of both rural and urban people. Thank you.